All right, everyone. Good morning. You guys hear me? Mic check. Let me know if you can hear me. Get into our 9 a.m. hourly check here in just a moment. And we'll talk about some cool things that happened overnight. It's about 8:52 a.m. Eastern. Can somebody there tell me if they can hear me, please? Testing, testing. All right, well, I'm just going to have to assume you guys can hear me. Maybe I'll... Mr. America. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. I never know until someone tells me they can hear me. And then I don't dare to talk until I know you guys can hear me. All right. Let's get started. Just a couple of us here. That's fine. The others will file in later. Maybe they're celebrating Easter. Who knows? But we're going to continue with our congestion playbook here. And for the 9 o'clock hourly close coming up in about 7 minutes, we'll try and get through this quickly. You can see we're looking at the hourly chart right here, you guys. Hourly, 15, daily, weekly. And on the hourly, we can see that we're trending down. We're now going for congestion entrance up. These are kind of dangerous. You got to be careful of congestion entrance up. But in this particular case, it's not, it's not terrible because you're in a nice pocket. You've got the extension and core DMLs here. So I'm not going to take this because it's congestion entrance up. So it doesn't really fit with the pure congestion playbook. This would be part of the congestion entrance playbook and whether to go with that energy or take the short for the continuation back down. We'll cover that in congestion entrance week, but that is not a congestion trade, even though, it doesn't look too bad. All right, there's the Nasdaq, same thing, not a congestion trade yet. The Dow firing to the downside. And last night in the end of day analysis, I said the Dow definitely looks the weakest. The overnight levels, guys, from the end of day analysis just nailed it on the Dow, the ES, and the NQ. We'll look at those in a second. But here on the hourly, no congestion. There's the Russell. Nice little flash coming out of support there. This is congestion entrance, so I wouldn't take it. So we get bonds. Bonds are very flat right now. Nice little lightning flash setting up. Could be a reversal back down, but not a congestion trade for us. So we'll fire through the bonds, but a nice flash. Look at this ultra bond pocket flash extension. That'll be for flash week, Very nice. All right, looking at gold. Gold is in congestion. I'm still bullish gold. That's kind of interesting. It's not really... We might take a look at gold for 9 a.m. here. It's kind of wacky with this, but technically you're trending up, and if this goes into congestion, it is congestion entrance, which you got to be careful of. But if you can just look at this with your eyes, I mean, you got all these lows here, so that is a congestion zone. We'll come back to gold. It's not like perfect looking, but could be something. Silver, no congestion. Copper, kind of a wide congestion zone here. Nothing I'm crazy about. I'm looking for pure congestion setups, guys. That's the whole point of congestion week. I'm seeing lots of potential trades, but we got to cover them playbook by playbook. Here's crude oil, nice little flash right there. Could definitely be some resistance to roll over, but not congestion. Natural gas. Hey, Aaron, what's up, man? Good morning, dude. Sorry, I'm just going through this to try and make sure we don't miss anything for 9 a.m. Good to have you awake, mate. Here is natural gas, no congestion. So gold is looking like a potential congestion trade, which we may look at. Here's heating oil also flashing. You guys will also notice too, as we go through the different playbooks, you'll see the different groups. Like on the bonds right now, you can see they're all flashing, right? See the ultra bonds? Nice little pocket flash. You can see the 30-year, nice little, normal flash right into the extension. That usually one of two things is going to happen here. You're going to reverse down, have a nice short on bonds, or the opposite's going to happen. You're going to fly up and through the flash, right? But when they're all doing the same thing, you can kind of get, correlation between the different markets in the same group, right? So that's important. Hope that makes sense. All right, let's get back to gasoline. See, you can see the energies are flashing also, but this is not flash week. If it was, we'd have a lot to choose from. Let's see, euro trending down. I'm not a huge fan of trading the currencies, to be honest, but if we see something, I'll consider it. Here's the pound. That's congestion on the pound, and you are coming out of a daily flash here, and the weekly is up into an extension, so that could be interesting for the pound for sure. You're at these old congestion highs. I would have preferred to see this, well, number one on the pound here, these extensions would need to hold, right? All that would need to hold, or the setup is not valid. And number two, I would have preferred to see this VolPro reaction resistance up here and forming a pocket. That does make that resistance level stronger. So, but it's not a bad area if the 15 is kind of flashing up in there. Let's see. I'm just trying to get the right contract month here for the pound. Give me a second. Might short the pound. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just getting. It's been a while since I thought we're an M, but it's telling me in the J, which is the April, which could be. But let's see. I want to see where all the volume is. No, we are an M. Yeah. So trade date is wrong once again. So 6 p.m. Okay. Nice. Got it. Okay, now I'm not going to trade that because the 60-minute broke. But you see how we set up for these guys where you just use the DMLs, use the types of trading, use the patterns, and it either confirms trades or it doesn't, right? So right there, we just, we're looking to maybe short up into these old trend resistance highs. We talked about that in the course. If the hourly here had, tagged those levels and closed, maybe back down here a little bit, and the 15 flashed, yeah, then you might have had a short to go back down the other way, and that would have validated the hourly congestion trade on the pound. Still might drop, but it's just not. Why would I take this when it's above those DMLs? I wouldn't. All right, let's just quickly look at Bitcoin. And we can look at some of the other currencies, but I'm just. So here is the Swiss franc. I mean, that's technically congestion entrance because you had 1, 2, 3, and then bang. Nice little flash there on the Swiss franc. You definitely have some support down here. Here is the CAD, same as pound. There's the odd, same, firing up. New Zealand dollar firing up. Yen firing. Bitcoin we already checked. Ethereum we can't trade. Let's look at corn. Guys, I'll get more animated when my coffee kicks in, okay? I'm only 2 sips into my cup. Good news about my phone. They're able to repair the screen. So I don't have to get a new phone. I just got to get a new screen. So they're repairing it now. And that's nice because, I mean, a new phone would have been nice. But at the same time, I don't store anything in the cloud. So I got to retransfer everything manually, which just is something I don't want to deal with right now. So I'm happy to have my trusty phone back. I'll pick it up later today. Here is corn. That's a trend reversal bar right there, congestion entrance. You guys are clear, right, on the types of trading. It's been a, almost 3 weeks now. People have gone through the course, many times. And then that with the live streaming and everything else, you guys are starting to piece together, the types of trading, the congestion support, resistance levels, how to frame that, the trend resistance high, the trend support low, the peaks and valleys, or the peaks and troughs of the envelope, the middle of the envelope. That's starting to make sense, right? And then plugging it into multiple time period analysis, I think you guys are starting to get there. That's what I gather by the questions. What's up, Miyagi? Good morning. But you tell me, you guys, if it's getting clear. So Ralph, it's getting clear for you, I know, because I read your analysis. It does seem like you're getting it. Now, is that because you've gone through the course like 100 times, or have you just been, watching the live streams, diligently taking notes, like going back, looking at things and going over it in your mind? Like, I want to find out what the difference is for those who are getting it versus those who are still struggling, so those who are still struggling can learn from those who are getting it, right? Meanwhile, while we wait for Ralph, I'm just looking here at the grains. So there's corn, nothing. Let's look at wheat. No congestion play there. Soybeans. Kind of a wild and wacky congestion zone here on soybeans. Those markets are closed right now because we're in the break. They reopen at 9:30 a.m. They close at 8:45 a.m. Eastern, the grains, and they reopen at 9:30 a.m. So when this reopens, we may consider, you do have a potential flash for a short. You got some nice DMLs here. You see the way we frame the congestion here, guys, right? So how would we, if I'm looking at this, how would I frame the congestion? Well, our original congestion entrance up bar, even though we weren't really trending here, we were heading down, and then bang, you get a close above the envelope there, right? So that high is important because that's your congestion resistance high, right? And then your original trend support low was kind of in here. We expanded it out here. So, you've got like a decent congestion range here, right? The question is this going to go for, a trend congestion exit for a trend run to the upside? I don't have that answer. I mean, technically, if you guys do this by the book, which I do recommend, so I should teach it that way, which I try to do most of the time. But technically, this, if you really want to know, the congestion, we don't have a trend anywhere in here, right? Because that's above the middle of the envelope. And then here you get first close, second close, okay? No trend because bang. So actually, this, if you want to be technical about this entire thing is a congestion zone, which when you look at it like that, it doesn't make this short here look very appealing because you're more in the middle of the zone. Yeah, you're at this high here, but that's technically not a congestion resistance high if you go by our rules and our definitions for the types of trading, right? And that's what's great about VolPro Edge. We've got rules that define what we're looking at, and then we plug in the trading based on those rules. MinDrive, Ralph, yeah, yes, I have 3 times through the course. Nice. Every live watched, few of them twice. Tried to break down the charts in a detailed way a few times a week. Still need to journal better every day. Not as detailed with that. Yeah, you'll get there, but you're off to a good start. And I think that's what it takes in terms of, to really, the harder people work, the quicker they're going to get it. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes, and everybody will get it at their own pace. I'm actually really impressed. You guys are, for the most part, getting it much more quickly than I thought. I thought it would take a couple months, and a lot of people are getting it in like 2-3 weeks, which is awesome. Okay, so that's soybeans. So I just broke that down, why we wouldn't take that. Here is soybean oils. It's kind of similar. You got a congestion entrance up move there, because here you were trending down. Congestion entrance up. I don't want to take that. Soybean meal, you're trending up, and the meats open at 9:30. So these are, the meats are in play. So looking at live, yeah, okay. So hogs and feeder cattle didn't have anything. Live cattle is kind of interesting. You definitely have, problem is that's a congestion entrance bar, which is why I wouldn't take it, because you're trending up and now boom, congestion entrance. Um, all right, so let's go back to the beginning. Let's go to ES. So guys, overnight, ES here as we wait for the open, and we'll go back through these markets again, do our check. But overnight, I mean, the end of day analysis yesterday, I said, you know, watch, look at these DMLs, guys. They're here. They're all here. And I said, if I was going to short ES, I would short it into that resistance zone. Like that's exactly what I said in the video, right? And now look at this. If you traded London, I was asleep last night because I had to go to sleep at a decent hour. Look, guys, perfect flash right into the extension, right into all of this daily. Boom. I mean, that is a very good setup. You got the hourly with a beautiful flash right into your daily resistance zone. You know, the general bias is to the downside out of that resistance zone. The hourly confirmed it with that flash. And let's see, you know, what the 15 was doing at that time. I'm pointing this out for you guys to learn, right? I didn't take it because it's London. But here's the thing too, guys, is once we launch Sierra charts, I'm getting back into work developing my algos. You know, I was getting close with those. That took a back seat to VolPro Edge and getting everything ready for VolPro Edge. But the next stage is to get back to the algo development, because I'm at a point in my trading career where like the end of day analysis is so good every single day that I don't want to miss trades when I'm asleep. I want to have my algo running on in the background, looking for flashes, looking for pockets, looking for trend reversals on the 15-minute out of those key zones, you know, into those levels, and then boom, it just does it all on autopilot. You guys think that that sounds pretty cool? Then we could have a retreat and we could all just hang out and surf and smoke cigars while the algos are just running in the background. I think that sounds pretty cool. And Aaron, you can lead the retreat, okay? I'm not the retreat leader. We'll go to Aaron's retreat. We'll run the algos and we'll all hang out in Bali or wherever the next retreat's going to be, Aaron. Be awesome. Yeah, man, it's definitely, so the plan. I mean, VolPro Edge works, you know, all sessions. Yeah, it'd be sweet, dude. Seriously, that'd be so much fun. That's where I'm going with this, because I think the algos, especially when you tie them into the VolPro Edge methodology, I mean, I would just run that algo, and the beautiful part, like most people can't develop automated systems successfully because number one, you know, it's not easy. But number two, you don't have a system like VolPro Edge. And number three, you can't just like run an algo and be like, okay, it's whatever market, whatever time of the day, I'm just running the algo. No. You got to run the algo. Like I'll run my specific algo. I'll pull out of the algo toolbox. Okay, I know on this day, my bias is short ES. I know that my zone is from, you know, like I called out in the video, 53, you know, 58, right up here, 53.80. So let's call it 60 to 80. And I would just be like, look, my zone is 60 to 80. You know, if I get either an hourly flash or a pocket or a test, you know, I can do all these if then statements on the hourly and say, hey, if any of those VolPro Edge setups happen into that resistance level that I've marked out, you know, the zone on the ES yesterday was, you know, from, like I said, 60, which is here. So just imagine the zone from 60 to 80. That's the zone. And you know, so this is like our zone right here. So the algo is just, we have no idea if price is going to get up there or not, but the algo is just monitoring that zone with a bunch of if-then statements. And then here you get the flash, you get the test of the extension, it's in the zone. The algo goes, okay, we like this. What's the 15-minute doing, right? So let's see what the 15's doing. That was at right in here. Okay, so basically right there is where you've got your close here. So, you know, the 15 minute, what you could just say is like, okay, well, you know, if the 15 minute, if we trigger that hourly, but the 15 minute is in a trend run up against us, we don't take it until the 15 minute enters congestion. Well, you can see, you know, you see, this is how you just program these things. So 1, 2, 3, technically the 15 is trending up here, right? And then on that close right there, that's when the hourly closed, but we're still technically trending up because we are technically above the middle of the envelope here, right? So that's your fourth close. So the algo is just monitoring this, and then, okay, it knows the 15 has now entered congestion down, confirming this flash out of all this resistance, right? I mean, it's beautiful. And then what we'll do too, it'll automatically put in stops and targets. That's going to be the evolution of VolPro Edge, which I can't wait for, you know, because then we don't have to sit here and monitor all this. We can just let the algo monitor it and take the same trades we would take anyways if we were monitoring it, right? So that's going to be sweet. And that's going to be where the real IP kicks in. It's going to be awesome. All right, so ES is opening. ESNQ indices opening about 17 minutes. How you doing, Aaron? You got your coffee going? Oh yeah, dude, it's gonna be sick with the algos. Like, you guys have no idea. I've been testing it and working on them. That was my big project before I decided to launch VolPro Edge. So it's gonna be awesome. And I'm sure we can make the algos available on TradingView too. From what I understand, TradingView does have that capability. So, you know, we'll be able to run it on Sierra and TradingView. Personally, I will be running them on Sierra charts because I will be running my algos on volume-based charts, just because, you know, I'll get better reads. But they're going to work fine on the minute-based charts too. Aaron said, I wish I had coffee going. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. I can't have coffee at night or I don't sleep, you know? I kind of just have my coffee in the morning and that's it. Speaking of that, this is my old coffee from yesterday. I just warmed up. I didn't have time. I got to tell my wife to ask her to make some more coffee. Yeah, so that's pretty cool right there with the algos. I can't wait for that. Let's see if we have any news today. Anybody know about any news today? Check the calendar. Here. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool, guys? Like, to run our live stream. I'm just out surfing, but like YouTube has just got my screen here and it's just all the algos are running and it's like, you are now short. Yeah. People tune into the YouTube channel. There's nobody there, but algos running and they're all making money. Oh God. That would be sweet. All right, let's see the news. Market watch here. We had jobless claims at 8:30. Yeah, nothing really major, but I want to check another calendar, see if there's, I don't really like the market watch calendar. It doesn't give all the bond auctions and things. I like the trading economics calendar. This is the calendar I like. Because this shows, this is tradingeconomics.com. It shows everything. There you can see, all right, we had the European rate decision at 8:50. So we do have the ECB press conference. I guess that's happening right now. You see how you get all the bond auctions on here? So you want to look for, guys, sometimes if you see like a 30-year bond auction or a 10-year note auction, they happen at 1 p.m. Eastern on certain days. And, you know, you get a lot of times a big move in the indices right at that time. So gotta be aware of that. Yeah, but not a lot of news heading into the holiday. Good Friday tomorrow. I don't know about you guys, but every Friday is a good Friday for me. How are you guys trading this week? To be honest, like my personal account is up a little bit, a few grand, which is great. But I blew out those XFAs on my power outage, so that cost me money to get those XFAs. So I'm having pretty much a break-even week, which is fine. Kind of sucks considering I nailed this drop to the wall. But like I said, things happen. I think it's important to tell you guys, like, I don't make money every week. Most weeks I do, but some weeks I'll break even. Some weeks I'll lose a little. I don't get killed because of how I manage my risk. But this week has been kind of a, you know, I could have made more if I was a little bit more fortunate with the power outage, but it happens. So don't feel bad if you're not making money this week. So let's see. So yeah, so cool. So Aaron's definitely going to lead the retreat in Bali or Costa Rica, Aaron. I mean, Costa Rica could be cool too. Let's see. You guys in the US have Monday off too? I think it's just Friday. You got a 4-day holiday in Australia, Aaron? Because yeah, for us, I think Good Friday and then Monday it's back to work. Maybe somebody else can tell me. I forget. So Min Drive. Okay, Europe. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. You guys have the Americans like to work, so we don't take as many holidays. When I lived in Spain, it's like I'm not joking. Every other week, there's just like some kind of holiday. You're like, oh, it's another holiday, which is great. So Min Drive, Ralph, we had unemployment numbers came in lower than expected. Okay, nice. Mr. America, thank you. Hang in there. Yep, hanging in there, my friend. Oh yeah, yeah. Europeans love a good holiday or a strike. Exactly. In the US, you can't really strike because if you strike, your boss just goes, okay, you're fired. Oh man. Hey, what's up, Andreas? Cool. Packing boxes. Nice. You in Florida now? You did the drive back? All right, since we're waiting for our next hourly check at 10 a.m. because there were no congestion trades on the 9 a.m. check, should we watch the Sierra charts, volume charts at the open so I can teach you guys a little bit about that? Bring up Sierra volume here. I saw your comment. Just hang on. My Sierra charts are loading over the YouTube comment screen. Andreas, if you just joined us, rewind. We did some algo talk that I think you'll like. Did you get the algo talk, Andreas? I think that'll be right up your alley. And as a founder, you're in a good position because founders will get access first. Everybody will get access. It's just founders get a little, earlier access. All right, let me see here. Here's Sierra. Close chart book. So Andres, nope. Last day trying to get everything out of the house. Moving tomorrow. Nice. Okay, cool. So I guess you're moving. That means you found a place, right? Good job. Oh yeah, you can rewind. Or Andreas, you can watch the archives. I just thought it'd be something that you'd like. Okay, let's just take a look here. Since we're waiting anyways for our hourly check, we'll scroll back and forth today between just Nasdaq on the volume charts, and then also we'll keep doing our hourly checks for our congestion trading playbook week. Oh, nice. That's a pretty close drive, Georgia to Florida, right? I've done that drive. I drove from North Carolina to California in like 2.5 days. I bought a BMW M3 and I picked it up in North Carolina and I drove like 160 miles an hour the whole way back across the country. And I swooped down Georgia. I went that southern route. It was really cool. And then I got a speeding ticket in Texas. I'm just flying through Texas in this brand new M3, and this highway patrol was hiding behind a thing, so he comes out. I'm flying, and he gets me. I pull over. He comes up. He's a huge Texas guy with a cowboy hat. It's like straight out of the movie Deliverance. And I've got a white M3 with tinted windows. Like he comes, I roll down my window and he's like, license and registration. So I pull out my license, my registration, I give it to him. He sees, California. He's like, you ain't from around here, boy. I was like, no. Oh, that was a crazy experience, man. Really funny. No, no. Back then, that was just my good old trading that paid for that M3. And now with VolPro Edge, the funny thing is, I don't even want an M3 or I kind of had all my sports cars. I had two M3s. I had an M5. Um, I had a Cooper, a Mini Cooper S convertible. I had a bunch of stuff, but I got all that out of my system, when I was younger. So now I'm really happy with the VolPro Edge Mobile. That's all I need, guys. At some point I'll get like a Jeep for down here, but right now we don't really need it with the baby coming. I don't see us taking a lot of adventures, to be honest. I'm happy just to build VolPro Edge, surf, hang out in Jaco, Costa Rica. But that was a funny story. All right, so it's 9:23, and yeah, but those M3s and M5s were fun to drive. My M5 had paddle shifters, my M3s too, both of them, and they weren't manual. They were all like, that I forget what they call that gearbox, but with the paddles, man, that thing was wicked. My M5 had these things on the side of the seat where if you had it in sport mode and you're like going around a corner, the seat would like hug you on that side of the corner. It'd like push out and hug you. Oh yeah, no, exactly. I mean, not not even anywhere would I have a Lambo or a Ferrari just because it's so unnecessary. Um, but yeah, here in Costa Rica, you wouldn't want to. I mean, Costa Rica is very safe, but you just don't want to stick out like that. I mean, also too, like I would feel like such a douchebag. There are people here who are so poor, and then you're like driving around in your Lambo. I don't know. It just would feel awkward. All right, let's look at the charts here. Some fun stories. Um, let's see, guys, we got 21 people. Can we just get a few likes so YouTube could see like, oh, people think this is cool, and then maybe other people will come in. I appreciate it. I always forget to like too until somebody tells me. All right. So this is how let's just see how we would trade the open using volume charts here. Just like, okay, we'll put the congestion playbook to the side for a moment until our next hourly check. Let's go look at the daily analysis here. Oh, I guess doesn't want to do it. Okay. So for trading the open, here's how I would structure this. I would go to the higher time periods, right? I'll look at the Nasdaq, and based on yesterday's end of day analysis, right? So Nasdaq, we didn't get. I said that there would be some resistance here, but I said the real resistance would start here to here. We haven't gotten there yet. ES, we did, like we talked about, we got to the resistance level beautifully overnight. So for Nasdaq, I would say to myself at the open, if we drove up into this resistance level anywhere up in here, 18.7, to 18.8, that little 100-point zone right there, that's where I would be. I'd say to myself, okay, if I was day trading Nasdaq today, I'd say that's where I'd be looking to get short because that's where we've got a lot of resistance, right? So that's how I would play the open. I wouldn't get involved in any of this right here because it's choppy and messy. You've got an inside day. You already know that inside days can be wacky here, right? And I'll bring up the gold charts too for you, Aaron. I've got intraday volume-based gold charts on Sierra as well. We can take a look at after the open. So that would be my playbook for the Nasdaq. There's quite a bit of support here. I wouldn't really bet on that, but if that started to break down, let's say we had a pretty good break of these lows, then yeah, I could be interested maybe in shorting a pullback on the way down to these lows. So that'd be kind of like my two game plan ideas for the open. Short a pop up into that 18.7 to 18.8 area with confirmation on the intraday charts, and or if we don't go up there but we start breaking through these lows, maybe jump on board a trend. So let's see what got the 50,000 contract chart here and the 10,000 here. We know our zone, right? What did we say? 18.7, was that correct? I believe 18.7, yeah. Right, 18.494. What am I? Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay. Yeah, these are just big bars. So right up in here through these highs. So here you can see on the volume charts, you know, we're trying to go for congestion entrance down, right? We're trending, and you can see we've got about 40,000 contracts traded, so 10,000 more to go. And we'll see, I would be looking for a pattern up into that resistance level there, like we talked about, which is basically 700 to 800 right here. So let's see what we got shaking. And then the lows, if these start to break nicely, right, we could see a retest back down here of yesterday's lows. So I could be willing to jump on a 10,000 trend run down here if we break, or I'd be looking to short up in here. What's up, Spider-Man? How you doing, man? Is it dark in Iceland yet? Oh no, you guys are starting to get longer days now, yeah, because all my buddies in Sweden are like thrilled because the days are getting really long already. It happens fast. And Iceland, I mean, yeah, getting pretty bright. Yeah, I can imagine. It's probably awesome after that dark winter, huh? Reykjavik is a little more north than where I lived in Sweden, but not by much. So Ralph, live pocket on hourly NQ, but to the upside, which is where the resistance is. Let's have a look. Yeah, there is a live pocket there for sure, but this is still, I would say that, you know, this is not going to close until 10. So these still have a lot of time to adjust because this is still moving, right? So I wouldn't bet on that. So guys, see what I mean here about the volume charts versus the minute charts? Like, just when we go back to TradingView, just look at this. Okay, so hourly, 15-minute, and you see we get great reads, so it doesn't matter. You can use whatever set of charts you want, but when you get like, you know, today's pretty clean. You had that exhaust flash up there and then a reversal back down. But even this right here, you see this hourly, like that big sweep up and then back down, right? Now just look, the same market, but here, this is a 50,000. It's just a nice little trend run up. We're just kind of rolling over. So do you see how it's cleaner? So Spider-Man, yeah, in the summers we barely have any darkness. Yeah, no, I know, man. From living in Sweden, I like the summers were amazing sometimes, unless you'd be like barbecuing on midsummer and it would be like, you know, 61 degrees and or 58 degrees and rain, and you're like, oh, I just sat through like a long dark winter. Let me get my my account up here that I would want to maybe trade. On the open. Okay. Just setting up this account. All right. So we just had a close there on the 50,000. You can see here trending, now congestion, entrance to the downside, right? Is this going to go for trend reversal down? It could, but I think probably we're headed back up because I think we want to sniff out that resistance zone up there. But this is not part of my playbook to go long anywhere here, so I'm not going to. The only place we have support on the daily, remember, is that core DML. This is what you guys want to do. You want to don't get sucked in by what you see on the intraday charts. You know that your daily core DML is right there at the VolPro reaction support level. So, you know, that's kind of your main resistance, support zone at the daily low so far. And then we already know our resistance zone is up there 700 to 800 right there. So those are the key levels. You want to try to not, you know, unless you're scalping or you're doing something like Rafa or whatever, where you're using your EMAs, yeah, then you got to do what you got to do. But the way I like trading is just waiting for these key levels. Anybody got any Easter plans? I can tell you what my plan is for Good Friday. Sleeping past 5:30. It's gonna be awesome. And hopefully doing a lot of surf. I want to surf a lot these next few days. I've been working hard. At 9:45, we'll go ahead and we'll start doing our checks for the 10 a.m. hourly close and see if we have any trades setting up for our congestion playbook. And guys, what do you want to see for next week? This week was congestion week. Do you feel like you have a much better understanding of how to trade range-bound markets using VolPro Edge, using the playbook? Because that was the goal this week, to teach you guys, okay, this is, you know, playbook setup 1. Not necessarily, it's not the best or anything. It's just the one I decided to start with because markets are, you know, in congestion a lot. So I want to see if you understand congestion better, you know, now that we spent a week just focusing on congestion. And I know it can feel a little boring, guys, but, you know, it's like sometimes you gotta put in the hard yards. So if it's like boring because we're just focusing on congestion, yeah, but then, you know, week by week by week of different setups, you guys are gonna, you know, you're gonna be in a much better place in a few weeks when you understand all these setups. So Spider-Man, you getting it? Okay, cool. I'm glad that helped. So let's see, you got the 10,000 bombing down here, right? It's going to challenge probably these lows here, the overnight lows at all of our daily support that I wouldn't be betting on because I'm bearish the market, right? So I'm not going to bet on the support levels when I'm bearish the market. But what I want to see is if the support level here breaks, you know, then we could see a pretty good drop from 18,360, you know, down to those lows from yesterday, 18.1, let's call it. So, you know, a few hundred points if and when this breaks. And if it does, I'm sure the 10,000 volume chart will give us plenty of opportunities to jump on board a pullback into a pocket at the middle of the envelope, you know, where as it starts riding down, that's where we'd be looking to get short. So we just wait for that to happen. Right now, we're kind of in no man's land. So that's why I wouldn't do anything. You see, you've got a nice little flash there on the 10,000 right there for support, but you don't want to let the tail wag the dog, guys. So, you know, don't be looking at this 10,000 and be like, oh, there's a flash, I have to long. I mean, it might go up, it might not go up. You want to wait and match it up with your higher time period 50,000 contract chart and the key daily levels that we outlined in the end of day analysis video. So I think we're going to definitely want to go down here and test this support level. I know that this live stream is, you know, it's a lot of teaching, it's a lot of watching, it's a lot of waiting. That's how I trade. I wait for my setups, and that's probably why I make money, because I don't have to be in the market all the time. A lot of the tradertainment channels are in the market all the time. I don't know. I get it. For tradertainment, it's much more fun to be in the market. But for real trading, you got to wait. So yeah, like I said, in about 8 minutes, we'll start looking through the, well, we can do that now because we'll come back to the volume charts if and when we start to break through these lows and we want to jump on the trend to the downside. Yeah, Aaron, patience always pays. I mean, I think that's why Aaron and I kind of get along so well and found each other, because a lot of our content is very similar in the sense that like he's also just very chill, like it's all about patience. It's, picking your spots, waiting. So like our messages resonate with each other. And I do know from, a lot of the professionals I see out there, guys, I've been at this for a long time. I've read every trading book under the sun. Um, and the theme again and again and again and again and again is, patience, 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 patience. All right, so let's look. We'll get ready for our hourly check, and we'll keep an eye on if Nasdaq starts to break those lows. We'll flop back to the volume charts and look to see if we can jump on board a little 10,000 contract trend run to the downside. We'll have a little fun here before we head into the Easter holiday. But let's look for so you guys scroll through your charts. You guys got your VolPro Edge charts. Scroll through your scoreboard on the hourly and tell me where we see potential congestion setups to trade at the 10 o'clock hour. So what we can see is that ES is basically trending down, right? So for congestion, that doesn't qualify. NQ is getting close to challenging that support level. See, in trend week, that wouldn't have been a bad setup right here, because we actually ended up, see, we're trending down, boom, huge failure of the congestion entrance bar attempt. It tried and couldn't close above the middle. You've got the pocket, and then, here you got the 15-minute pocket that confirms on close. That's a good trend setup, and those are what we'll be looking for during trend week, right? So then you'll be able to see each piece of the playbook. I just don't want to cover everything in one day, because then you guys are like, it's too much for the mind to handle. So for congestion, which is what we're focusing on today, do the rest of you guys get congestion as well now, like Spider-Man? Is it making more sense? And maybe some people still can't comment in YouTube for whatever reason. I don't know, but you can let me know in the Discord as well. Any of you who can't comment on YouTube, just throw a comment in Discord and tag me, and then I'll see it, and then I can tell everybody in YouTube. All right, so here's the Dow trending, so not part of the congestion playbook. Here's the Russell. Look at that, just an absolute disaster. Let's look at bonds. So bonds are oppositing the flash there, but no congestion. You see the effect the flash had, though. I mean, it has an effect on price. So we do have some congestion here. So not on the 10 years pushing higher, right? But the 30-year, that's a failed congestion entrance attempt. The ultra bond here, I mean, technically that would be congestion entrance to the downside, but that's still a pretty good, let's say that this bar here at the 10 a.m. hourly close for bonds, let's say we close down here somewhere, we got a bunch of DML support. Technically it is a congestion entrance bar, because you're 1, 2, 3, 4 closes above the middle of the envelope, so that's trending up by our definitions. And then bang, that reversal bar that gets a close below, that's your congestion entrance bar. So technically you got to be careful trading congestion entrance bars in your congestion playbook, because those are the bars that can lead to trend reversal like that. But if you've got a lot of reason to believe that, let's say, the daily is strong, then you can be a little more willing to play that congestion entrance bar as your congestion setup, right? So when I look at the daily here on bonds, I mean, yeah, we're pushing higher. We're at some DML support down here, right? So the weekly, I've been pretty bullish bonds the whole week, because look at that flash on the weekly. Bang. See the 3 sections there? you guys will start to see these better. And yeah, you did break that congestion DML, but this one behind it held, and then the live one here held. So, you know, on my point with looking at the higher time periods here, look, why do I look at the weekly and the daily? Well, it's because I'm trying to get a sense of, if this thing closes down here, do I want to try to long bonds back up like this? I think I'd be willing to take a crack at that. So let's keep an eye on the ultra bombs. Spider-Man, got to run, take care of some business before the weekend. No worries, man. Thanks for being here, dude. Go take care of your stuff. So we'll keep an eye on bonds, guys, for the 10 a.m. close. Let's look at gold. Gold's pretty wild and wacky up here, Aaron. What do you think? We're definitely congesting, but we don't really have like a pattern that I like. So I'd be looking, today I'd be looking for, if we get lucky, you know, the gold is in congestion here now. So if we get lucky and, you know, get like a nice pocket testing these lows, something like that could be a good buy. So we'll keep monitoring gold for that type of a situation. Silver's pushing, probably wants to catch up to gold. I mean, I can't believe silver is still down here at $33 when gold's just firing. So it could have a nice bull market here in silver, all commodities maybe. The inflation trade. Yeah, I think we could still see some pushes for sure. So I'm going to look for, like, you know, congestion long opportunities on gold today. We'll monitor that for sure. Also bonds. That's why I'm, you know, that ultra bond setup here that we talked about, the ultra bond hourly chart. I mean, I do like this overall congestion range for 10 o'clock. We got a beautiful pocket here. We got a lot of dynamic market support levels right here. So with these DMLs, the pocket, everything, ultra bonds could be setting up a nice buy for 10 o'clock. Let's look at copper, and then gold as well later in the day. So copper, yeah, copper's getting into a trend, so that's not our congestion playbook. Platinum, kind of trend reversal there. So you can see the crude flash that we talked about at 9 a.m. There's your flash on the hourly. If you missed that when we were starting, so there's your flash. You're right into the extension, right? You had that daily resistance up in there. So, you know, you got the cores there. That's during flash week. That would have been a nice flash to take, because you got all your boxes checked. You're in a daily pocket here. The daily held its own extension, and you got the congestion DML above you, good resistance. Now hourly flash into that daily resistance all through there, and the DMLs here, the yellow DML there and there, those are above you. Those are resistance. That's very nice. So, you know, those are the kind of textbook flashes you'll look for during flash week. And you guys tell me, let's take a poll. This has been congestion week. I think you've all learned a lot about congestion this week. I don't feel the need to keep, you know, hanging on congestion for next week. I think you've got that part of your playbook, and it'd be great if you guys put your notes on your congestion playbook that you've learned from this week and in the course. Put those notes in Discord and share with everybody. So, you know, you go, hey, this is my congestion playbook notes. Oh, this is my congestion playbook notes. And I want to review your guys' notes and see if you're getting it. I think you are, based on the commenting and questioning I've seen. So that's your congestion playbook. What do you guys want to see for next week? What playbook should we go over next week, Monday to Friday? You know, we can have the trend playbook. We can have the congestion entrance / reversal playbook. We can have the congestion exit playbook. We can have the opposite playbook. We can have the flash playbook, the pocket playbook. I mean, you guys know all the playbooks. We got a lot to choose from. What would you like us to just hammer on next week? Because we're going to hammer on one topic at a time every week so you guys get it, and then you're going to have the full playbook. So please put in the chat what you'd like to see for next week while I keep looking for what we might trade here at 10 a.m. Drink a little bit of water. Let me get my water. All right, so crude there, that is a congestion entrance down attempt. I wouldn't take that coming out of that flash. Doesn't really qualify for our congestion playbook. We're looking for pure congestion setups. Heating oil, same thing. And remember, this is what I talked about too. They were all flashing, right? All the energies were flashing there for that hourly close. Well, at least heating oil and gasoline and crude. So the dollar is kind of a mess against the euro. The pound, you know, you recall we were debating maybe shorting up here, but we didn't get any confirmation because we closed above everything. See how VolPro Edge keeps you out of a lot of bad trades. You know, the Swiss franc, we said, yeah, that could be congestion for pushing higher, but I don't like trading the Swiss franc. Swiss franc. No, let's see. The CAD. Is that a congestion flash? Maybe. So you're in congestion here on the CAD, re-challenging the trend resistance high up here, right? You got a little flash setting up. Probably wouldn't take this, and I'll tell you why. Because we're above all these congestion DMLs. So that's, you know, this hourly bar here was not respecting that resistance level. So even though we're flashing here, it's nothing I look at and go, yeah, I want to short that. Last we checked, the odd Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, we're all trending up. So it's not part of the congestion playbook. Look at the yen. Also trending. Let's look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, we got a pretty nice little congestion range here. So this is kind of more of a pure congestion range on Bitcoin, definitely. I do like this daily pocket, you guys. I talked about this in yesterday's end of day analysis video. Right there, bang. Pretty nice little daily pocket. You've got some nice DML support right here at the envelope bottom. I mean, yeah, you're in that weekly pocket and you did get shot down from that extension up there, but I don't know. We could also see a push up here by the end of the day on Bitcoin, potentially. I'd have to see. Because the question for Bitcoin right now is it going to be, you know, is it going to start benefiting from the flight to safety that gold has seen? I think so far Bitcoin is holding up pretty well considering what the equities have done, right? So it looks like Bitcoin is getting some of that flight to safety. I'll get to you guys' comments in just a second. Don't want to miss anything. We've got 10 minutes until the hourly check. So here's corn. Not really anything crazy there. Had a good corn setup on Monday. Here is wheat. Nice little flash for a potential reversal, but this is not reversal week. Here's soybeans. So soybeans we were talking about at the 9 o'clock hour. Went over some, that was a good example of going over all this in terms of types of trading. And now the question is with soybeans, if this pulls back, okay, so like with soybeans here, you know, if this heads lower and this shifts and we get into a pocket, you know, then you'd be in congestion. That could be good for a buy back up on soybeans, but we have to see where that closes. And then again, the 15-minute has to, you know, confirm. And then that's the thing. If let's say we've got 2 or 3 setups we like for the 10 o'clock hour. If we like Bitcoin, if we like soybeans, if we like bonds, right? Then we'll just, maybe one of them will trigger on the hour with the 15-minute confirmation. Otherwise, we just check the 15s and see which one gives us confirmation. So it's a very relaxed way to trade, guys, for you guys that need that structure and that focus to just take it one piece of the playbook at a time and just scroll through the hourlies, just see what you've got. All right, so Aaron, no, yeah, you said took some longs earlier. Nice, yeah, on gold. Technique, I'd like to see the reversal strategy next week, particularly how to execute them at the right time. Okay, cool technique, I appreciate that. Anybody else have any comments on what type of playbook you'd like to go over next week? I'll put a poll in the Discord too, because maybe there's some people here that on YouTube that can't comment because they're blocked for some reason. I don't know why. But let me know what playbook you guys want to see next week, and then I'll think about it as well. But and technique, the congestion playbook, you feel like you got a pretty good handle on congestion now after this week? Yeah, anything that might build on congestion week. Yeah, I mean, they all flow from one to the next, the types of trading, right? So the goal for this week was just to get you guys up to speed on congestions. And I think we've done that. So like we could focus on reversals. And then if we're going to focus on reversals, I would even narrow it down and be like, okay, or do we want to focus on flash reversals or pocket reversals? So if we're going to look at reversals, I would probably focus on flashes. That would be like flash reversal week. Those are a lot of fun. Those are good trades. So maybe we'll do that next week. We'll take a poll and see. You know, trend week is also good. You know, just look for trending markets, jump on board. Yeah, flash reversal is kind of fun. Maybe we'll do flash reversal week next week. As long as I have to think if there's any logical structural advantage to why I would follow congestion week with something different. So I got to think through that. But I want your guys' feedback as well. Is my volume coming through loud for you guys? Like, it's loud enough? Because my mic is here. I got to get I have a boom arm, but it doesn't, I got to get the setup going. All right, so we got 5 minutes. So let's just quickly, we know bonds were, wow, look at that flash on bonds. Woo. So now this is pretty interesting with the ultra bond because look, I mean, you got this extension down here. This is a pretty mean congestion entrance bar here. So, you know, all your congestion support is there. I don't want to say it would invalidate this, but technically this is a congestion entrance, which could be a trend reversal bar. But you do have a lot of support here. You're kind of breaking through these DMLs, but you still got the middle of the envelope here. I'll keep an eye on bonds. I mean, if we suck up here and close, let's say back above the old trend support low right there, if we close above that, then we're also closing above the live congestion support DML. We would have sucked up out of that extension, you know, then that could be congestion for a move back up like that potentially. Although again, you got to be careful with those congestion entrance bars, right? So let's see where bonds close. Oh, here's gold. Okay, gold could be, this could be interesting. Flash, I might have to buy gold. I'm going to gold here. What do you think about this support level on gold, Aaron? I mean, I'd have to wait and see if this flash on the hourly, because we're technically in congestion. Well, we're technically not in congestion because you got 1, 2, 3. You even got 4 above. So this is technically a congestion entrance bar, not a pure congestion bar. So these little details, guys, they matter. Because maybe gold wants to expand the range further down. I mean, it'll tell us if we start breaking through these extension DMLs, but you do have this flash. So if we sucked up on gold and closed up here, you know, I'd be interested in potentially buying that. The 15-minute certainly is flashing nicely into a pocket, and you got these two here. So we'll keep an eye on gold. See right there, it just tagged through these extensions. But right now we're breaking these hourly extensions, you know, pretty firmly. So I wouldn't get sucked into buying the 15-minute extension. That makes sense, guys? You see how you just monitor the signs. Ultra bonds. 30-year. There's ultra bonds. They're kind of sucking up a little bit. But I'd want this thing really to suck up here. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. I think so too. Pretty heavy in the sense that, like, I definitely wouldn't short this, but I just hope the lower it goes the rest of the day, in my view, it's just a better buy, right? So if gold is going to try and get down in here, you know, we get a setup, that'd be a good buy on gold. But now is not the time. Even though you're flashing, you're not getting any DML confirmation. Soybeans, we said we want to look at as well, right? Yeah, you're not getting confirmation there on soybeans. Let's look at bonds. The ultra bond, this could be interesting. Might have to take a shot here. I mean, I don't like that we broke these DMLs. I mean, I'm being picky, guys, but I'm always picky, because if you're picky, you just wait for the ones that everything looks good that you like it. So on the ultra bonds, we'll watch the ultra bonds here. Just go UBM, boom. So if we sucked back up and closed here, that'd be nice. Doesn't look like this can happen. We'll still watch the ultra bonds, but technically this is 4 bars and then congestion entrance down. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's and then people are like, yeah, I like to trade the way you like to trade, Aaron, which is just, you know, trade in the direction of the higher time periods. So that's some pretty good support there on the ultra bonds. I think it's going to go up, but I don't like that we broke this, so I'm not going to take it. But somebody who had their own playbook, back tested, say, oh, look, no, I've shown that, you know, I love the ultra bonds, and when this happens, as long as you get the extension holding, and you know, you guys will come up with your own way. I'm teaching you how to use the system, find the patterns. So on the 15, you got a nice flash support. The DML is holding there. So the only thing I don't like about this is that, yeah, you're at those old lows, which is good on bonds. That's nice. But I just, you know, we did break this on close. Yeah, we held this. So you could say that that's all a zone of support. Oh, oh, TradingView is playing games here. I don't know what's going on with TradingView. Wow, TradingView is kind of weird. This is not a bad buy here. I would give it like a B. Yeah, exactly. It's so much better to just trade with that higher time period bias. I think I might buy the bonds here. You know, with a stop down below these lows. That's not that much risk. It's a couple $100. See if I can get in. I'll put an order to buy one ultra bond at...
Order rejected.
Oh. I can't trade ultra bonds on Tradify. That's weird. Anybody know why I can't trade ultra bonds on Tradify? Super weird. Well, we'll watch it. I wanted to try and get long. This is a pretty decent setup when you look at where we're at in the daily zone. We are coming out of the weekly flash. The odds are here. Like it's not a bad trade to buy and target back up here. So I don't know why Tradify doesn't let me trade bonds. Super weird. Anybody got any insights on that? Why Tradify doesn't let me trade bonds? And yeah, I'm going to start getting much more aggressive with these Tradify accounts because I'm just like, you see how good our setups are during congestion week. Jacob, what's up, man? Does the red pocket? Oh, okay. So a lot of firms don't allow bonds to be traded. That's interesting. Okay. Well, you guys saw that I debated on this, and then after thinking about it and reviewing it, I do think there's enough support here to, you know, give this trade a shot. So I can't trade it, but I like the trade. So Jacob, are you talking about on bonds, what we're looking at here? Yeah. Well, first of all, I would say the daily DML stack is support still, because you got to, this is all a zone from the middle of the envelope to that core. You know, all this right here, in my view, is support. Now the weekly, we're coming out of a weekly flash and a lot of support here. So coming with the weekly pushing up out of that flash, and I would view this as a daily support zone. Then I would say the hourly, you know, that's a very nice hourly pocket. The extension held, the live congestion is you know, support because you're right at it there. You're at the old lows right here. So even though technically for congestion, you know, this is a congestion entrance bar like that, and those can be dangerous. But I think that there's, look, the trade might lose, but there's like, I would rate this in terms of what we're doing on congestion week. I would rate this like a solid B, and I want to take those. And the 15-minute, I know your question, but you notice how I'm answering the question, but I'm walking you from the higher time periods down to the lower time period because that's the way I want you to learn how to think. So the 15 has that big flash, core DML held on close, above the true average, above the live envelope, above, you know, the congestion. So the 15 is saying, hey, that there's support there. The hourly is saying there's support. The daily is saying there's support. We're coming out of the weekly flash. So then does this pocket here on the 15 worry me? No, because I would expect to go up and through it. Or even if it holds temporarily, I would expect, you know, the next bar to go up and through it. Now, none of that might not materialize in that way, but that's how I'm looking at it. I'm trying to go with the energy that I like, right? I hope that makes sense. So yeah, look, that's a B. Like in my mind, what would I rate a B setup here? I'd probably rate a B setup, you know, something that's likely to win, you know, 60% of the time and lose 40% of the time. So if you can make 2-to-1 or 2.5 or 3-to-1 on those trades, and you take every single one that you rate a B, you know, the probabilities will work in your favor. Congestion dot above envelope on 15. No, my target would be the hourly up here, right? So since I would be betting on hourly congestion action, I would target right back up here, the hourly envelope top. So, and I would monitor this 15, right? If this starts to break down, you know, then it wouldn't be confirming. So right now, all this support that we're betting on, you know, that needs to continue to be strong. So we'll monitor bonds. I wish I could trade them. I would have just got filled on my order. Anyways, the best spot to get this was right here at close, but I just had to think about it a little bit more. Anyways, we'll keep an eye on that. Let's look at the indices here real quick. So we got hourly ES in congestion. Wasn't bad. You had a little flash there, but I don't see really a pattern here on that congestion trade. And you are kind of in no man's land here. So even though it's dropping now, I wouldn't have sold that. So we get Nasdaq. So Nasdaq's still kind of wrestling with these the lows of the day, which we talked about here, that core DML on the daily and the VolPro support reaction level. That's so far been pretty good support down there. I feel like a whole nother part of it is managing the trade live and paying attention and deciding when to move stop, because I feel like if a sketchy close happened or I saw DMLs in a pocket, it could scare me out of the trade early. Yeah, look, I mean, I think once you go, like, this is why for you, Jacob, we need to have a play, you know, we need to have a fixed set of criteria where like you can execute, you know, 20 trades in a row of the same setup. And once, like, you know, you have rules where you're going to put your stop, where you're going to put your target, and you let that thing play out, right? Like at your stage, I wouldn't be, you know, getting scared and jumping out and doing all that. I can do that because I have a lot more experience and I'm pretty good at, you know, dynamically managing my trades. But I wouldn't recommend that for you. I would recommend getting comfortable, trusting your system, whatever that system will be with VolPro Edge, and then repetition, executing that trade. Mark Douglas talks about it in Trading in the Zone. You know, just, he says like there's 3 stages. You know, there's the mechanical trader that starts, that has the rules, and then there's some other trader. And then when you get to the highest level, you combine all of it and you use intuition and all that. So I wouldn't recommend going straight to that advanced stage. I would say stay in the mechanical stage. And what he talks about in that book is the exercise of taking, you know, get a trade, you know, a game plan that you like, whatever that is, and then you execute 20 trades in a row according to that game plan. And you just don't worry about if you're going to win or lose. Your goal is just to follow that process. Yeah, Aaron, Mark Douglas, he's awesome. You know what I'm talking about, right? The exercise from that book, Trading in the Zone. He says, take 20 trades and just prove to yourself that you can follow that process. Don't strategy hop, just take those trades, right? So Jacob, as we start getting, you know, going with different aspects of the playbook, you tell me, or even from the course already, if there's a setup that you like, tell me, and, you know, tell me how you think you'd want to trade that setup. I'll give you some feedback and we'll get you going on this 20 trade, you know, path. And I think that'll help you a lot. All right. So, you can see pretty nothing burger day so far on Nasdaq, but doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Let's go ahead and look at our Sierra charts quickly. Kind of down here by the old lows. I kind of have a feeling the Nasdaq's going to want to rally. So I wouldn't bet on it because I trade with a higher time period. And right now I'm just trying to teach you guys congestion. Yeah, I think so. I can tell by your questions that you're understanding it better. Like the questions you asked yesterday in the Power Hour stream and today, like they're better. And yesterday you saw during Power Hour why we wouldn't take that short on the 15-minute chart and Q, because we were in no man's land on the hourly, and that was correct, right? So that was a good call. You're getting it. All right, so we're gonna look for some congestion trades. I think so far, you know, let's see. ES and Q. There's the Dow. Back to bonds. So you can see bonds so far are just kind of sitting here. But that was my one pick for today. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, so far, I think during congestion week, there have been about 4 or 5 picks that I really liked, you know, based on just trying to filter out all the bad ones. And, you know, those were, you know, they work. So it's been a good example of how to trade congestion week. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, man? You got my email, right? I'm getting my phone repaired, so I'm gonna pick it up at like 11 o'clock, and then I'll have all my apps back. I can give you a call. All my friends are like, "Where are you?" I'm like, I smashed my phone. I have to get it fixed. So Aaron says, try not to overthink it. Been trading a long time. I took off a trade at open because I thought I saw something reversing. Nope, kept going down. Yeah, sounds good, man. Cool. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why I think in the beginning, just having a trading plan is the best path for most people. And then you just execute that plan and learn, right? So like here, for example, in trade management, you know, if I got in here where I was supposed to get in, I would probably be, I don't know if I'd be at break even yet, but this did not confirm. If you're taking it, you know, 15-minute at a time. So this is going to close. I would probably get out here at break even. And the reason I would get out, and look, this may head up higher. So depending on where you got in here, I would either be at, you know, break even or lose a couple ticks or something like that. And it might fire to the upside. But what I would say on that, on my playbook, if I was trading the congestion playbook for myself, I would say, okay, well, at the hourly close, you know, we had confirmation, we have some support, weekly flash. I like what the 15's doing. But then, yeah, like Jacob said, there is that pocket you're going against. I wouldn't be fearful of that because I would expect to blow up and through that pocket. But the fact that we got shot down out of that pocket, I don't think that's good to stay long there, because that little 15-minute pocket should not be able to overwhelm all this support on the hourly, the daily, and the weekly, if indeed this is going to be a strong support level. And it might still be, but that would give you the first clue that it's breaking down. Okay. So then I would just get out at break even. And that's something, Jacob, you can have in your trading plan. You know, you can be like, I don't want you jumping in and out of stuff, but like if you use the 15-minute as your confirmation, it could be on your checklist. Like, okay, you know, if I'm going to go long because I got the hourly pattern at a good daily zone, I think I'm in line with the weekly and the daily direction to the upside. The 15-minute confirms with a nice little pocket. The DMLs look good. Okay, I'm going to go long. And then what does your checklist say? The checklist says, okay, at the end of the first 15 minutes after I go long on that 15-minute, like, did the, you know, if the 15 was trending down prior, which it was here, well, then I would need the 15 to enter congestion up. Okay, if the 15 enters congestion up, stay in my trade because that's confirming, right? Oh, if the 15-minute has a failed congestion entrance attempt, get out because it's not. So you see what I mean? Like you guys can use all the VolPro Edge playbook to get as mechanical and dialed in as you want to get, and then you just follow that playbook, you know, point by point on your checklist. You guys get what I'm saying? Let me know if you get what I'm saying, guys. All right, let's go back to ES, kind of cycle through here. I'm still, you know, I'd like to find some some decent ones to take. Okay, cool. Glad you're writing it down, man. It's a good first step. So ES, you know, just not a lot going on. I'm waiting for a congestion setup. Nasdaq is trending down. Waiting to see if that support level there on the daily is going to end up holding or not. The Dow. Yep. So the Dow did, here's the hourly Dow trending. There's your congestion entrance bar. You know, so the question is, we're right at the weekly true average now here, you see? And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see at the 11 o'clock hour if this hourly Dow tests these lows, sucks back up, gives us a pocket. You know, would that be a congestion buy for a little bit of a squeeze? Potentially. Keep an eye on it because we've dropped quite a lot today, even though, you know, I know the energy is to the downside and I like favoring the downside, but I like favoring the downside, you know, up into resistance. And now we've already had a big drop. Look at this drop today on the Dow, 40,300, nailed the end of day levels there. And now we've made a low of, you know, 39,300. So, I mean, that's a massive drop on the Dow right there, right? 1,000 points. So to say that this thing can't bounce 300 or 400 points, it could, but the hourly will tell us the story and we'll see if it lines up with our congestion playbook. And then if the 15-minute confirms, we may be going long some Dow. You know, so this is how I try to anticipate what's going to happen. So the Russell there, that's not a bad little congestion zone there. I didn't really check the Russell, to be honest. I kind of missed this, but not terrible. You've got a real congestion zone here for sure. The hourly extension held. You've got the live congestion holding. Yeah, you broke all that. Question is where, yeah, on the daily, I mean, you were right. Because I would look at this and say, okay, well, you got conflicting signals. I missed this because I didn't check the Russell. I almost never trade the Russell. I gotta be less biased toward the Russell. I would say, okay, I like that. You're in congestion, you know, you got some nice resistance levels here for sure. The hourly closed down off of them, so it's respecting that. But you're breaking these. It's true, right? You are. But then I would say, well, where are we on the daily? Well, on the daily, you're right at an extension right there and the VolPro resistance reaction level. So not a bad spot to bet on this congestion because you'd be looking at that going, okay, do I expect the hourly, do I expect it to exit congestion up like this? Then I would look at the daily and be like, not really. I would expect it to stay in congestion and cycle back down to the envelope. So then you say, okay, well, you know, what was the 15-minute doing? Yeah, the 15 I'd say was confirming because you're holding here and then here you're dropping below the true average. Again, this is back to Jacob's question. It's like you'd look at all these congestion DMLs here broken, right? That are now support. And then, you know, you might say, oh, well, what about this pocket? Are you scared of that? I'll say, no, I'm not, because I would expect all this resistance on the daily and the hourly to overwhelm that pocket against me and overwhelm all that support, right? So then I'd be looking for signs of, okay, well, where could I short against? Yeah, just right in here, you're underneath the true average, you're moving back inside the envelope. So these are the kind of, you know, situations where you'll start to be able to put into context the DMLs and the pockets and how to look at it. Does that make sense, you guys? Supreme, what's up? Just long gold, 5.3, stop loss 20. Let's take a look at gold. So anyways, I think that was a good lesson there on the Russell. So next time I'll try not to biasly skip the Russell at all. Let's look at gold. No. I like when you guys, I love it when you guys share what trades you're taking, because then we can go and look at them. So you long gold from, where'd you long from? $3.332. So 3.3. So like up here. Is that right? Up in here, Supreme? 3.332. Okay. 3322. Okay. 3322. Yeah. And did you long it, you know, for VolPro Edge reasons or for another reason? I'll give you my feedback. Don't let me, you know. I would say that I wouldn't long there, but don't let, you know, you got to do your own thing if you're running your own system. But for what I'm seeing, the hourly broke through these key extensions, right? Even though you have a flash and you do have some support here, so you may get a bounce. I'm not saying you won't, but I wouldn't, because the hourly wouldn't, you know, the hourly is not confirmed for me yet. And the 15-minute is still trending down. So look, this thing could bounce. Don't get out of it on my account. Right? That's another thing too. Like, people, you guys gotta like use everything in the way that you're using it. This, you know, I use it the way I use it. And I'm all about filtering out, you know, what I view as subpar trades. And a lot of the ones I filter out end up working fine, right? So, but I'm more about trying to just not take subpar trades. So, but if you tell me why you took it, then maybe I'll look at it and go, oh, okay, well, yeah, if you're scalping and the 5-minute did this and the 15, right? So yeah, and that's the thing. If you are scalping, maybe you're on the 5-minute chart and then you're going to get a small reaction. Well, then maybe it's a good trade for your playbook, right? I'm just, for what I'm seeing, you know. But I hope you get the bounce, man. Be sweet. So bonds are pushing up again. They kind of maybe just tried to go out to shake out those. But see, that's where I don't care. Like on my, yeah, so now bonds are pushing. They probably just took out the stops at break even or whatever. But that's okay, because according, you know, to the playbook, if the 15-minute is not confirming, just get out. Like, and then if it goes without you, it goes without you. Like, that's going to happen. That's not the point. The point is to follow the trading plan, right? And if you do that on 20 trades, you're not going to care about any one individually, and you'll look at it at the end of 20 trades and you'll be like, wow, you know, you get a lot of data, you learn a lot about yourself. You say, whoa, you know, 3 of these broke even, and out of those 3 that broke even, you know, 2 of them ended up going in my direction. 1 of them ended up being a loss. I had this many wins. Oh, I actually have an edge here. You know, I made money. I have a positive expectancy on my trades. Like that's the goal of that exercise. And that's what I'm trying to, everybody wants to like get to the intuitive level of trading first. It's a long path, guys. It's a marathon. You got to get there step by step. And step number 1 is using the tools at your disposal with VolPro Edge, learning the different parts of the playbook, and then you figure out what part of the playbook you want to specialize on first, get your trading plan in order, do those 20 trades, learn that playbook, you know, go on to the next part of the trade playbook, do those 20 trades, learn that playbook. You guys share notes with each other. This is where all this is going. And that ultimately is where I see the live trading room going is, you know, I miss the Russell, because I'm just one guy trying to teach and explain and do all this. And I was looking at bonds, you know, meanwhile, Russell was not a bad short there at all. You know, somebody else would be like, hey, Andy, go look at the Russell real quick. You know, I'm seeing this, and this. Go look over there. Oh, bang, you're right. Guys, Russell doesn't look bad at all. So this is where all this is going. And so the point too is, you know, with bonds, once you're out, you're out. Like, Doesn't matter if this thing goes straight up and you're not in, you don't kick yourself. It's just, you're out, you're out, you're in. But you follow your playbook. You guys got any more questions, comments? Questions about the congestion playbook? Suggestions on what you'd like to see for next week's playbook? We've got some votes for reversals. We could focus on flash reversals for next week. Yeah, it's really hard to tell with these influencers, Jacob, but I can tell you by watching them on stream, they appear to be much more entertainers than traders. So there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason why they take trades. There's just, there's a bull flag, we're in, you know, and then they're showing these screens from different prop firms that they make all this money, but they're also huge affiliates for these prop firms. So there's a massive conflict of interest there, right? We already know from some of the legal documents that came out that there were prop firms that would just set dashboards up with positive trades for influencers and let them show those dashboards as if they were their own trades. You know, he makes huge money from codes. That's actually, and I'm not like saying people shouldn't make money from codes. That's not the issue. Look, I'm all about making money. You know, if you can make money that way, that's great. But you can also see if somebody is like an organized, like what are they trading, right? Like he's selling that course for like $200. I mean, I haven't seen that course, but it's probably a bunch of recycled bull flags and bear flags. Yeah, exactly. And if the prop firms just, you know, stacked you with endless accounts or dashboards, you know, I just think there's a lot of marketing shenanigans. And this is also what motivated me to, you know, come out with VolPro Edge and start teaching it to people who wanted to learn, is because I don't see anything else out there where somebody is teaching something that is like a full-on system. It's logical, it's sequential. You've got the types of trading, the multiple time period analysis, the pattern, you got all these things. And I was thinking that if I could come out and teach people and they have their own independent success with VolPro Edge, which is already happening, then that's something that nobody else is doing. You know, you don't have like people, there's nothing else out there that's like a replicatable, teachable system. Everything else is just random bull flags and bear flags. Now you guys got me started on bull flags and bear flags. Whenever I think about bull flags and bear flags, I get in a bad mood. Just kidding. Jacob, I saw one time he blew all his take profit pro. Next day, full ported them and made a lot. And come to find out, he reset each for 1,500. Try to say he made it. Yeah, exactly. Of course. That's what happens. Ralph took the short when hourly lost support at 53.22. Let's see, 53.22. I guess we're talking about ES. Nice. Targeting lows, anticipating daily support wasn't going to hold. Great job, man. That was a great trade. I love when you guys just take your own trades and then share with the group, why did you take a trade? Yeah, you're talking about that flash up there? Yeah, great job. So you were anticipating coming out of that flash, and then as we started to break down here, you went short for the congestion exit. So what you just did, Ralph, is you just took a congestion exit trade. You know, you were like the 15-minute was in congestion. Here you can see, well, we're trending down here, congestion entrance up, but you can see there's your congestion highs, congestion low. You're framing it like that. And you had a strong, you know, feeling based on the price action, everything, that we're going to exit to the downside and go retest the lows. And that was a good trade. So nice job, man. Fantastic. Meanwhile, bonds are kind of sitting around doing nothing. Now you got your congestion entrance up move on bonds, right? So if you want to re-enter this trade, You could, because now you have more confirmation, right? That the 15 at least is telling you, hey, you're at least entering congestion up here. So you could, so that could be your playbook, right, Jacob? I'm not saying what will be your playbook, but it doesn't necessarily mean that if a trade shakes you out, but then you get the confirmation, that you can't get back in. That's possible. So here I would say, if I would wait, like, so I wouldn't get in right here just yet, because the 15, yeah, we entered congestion, but these are holding right now, right? So I say, well, if I wanted to get long, I would want to get long the 15 congestion support level here. So that's where I would be looking to get long, because at least now we're in congestion. So if we went back down here, that's where I might be looking to take a long into all that support again and maybe get the push. So Aaron, the commodity, I went short one contract when 18,385 broke. Guys, Aaron just passed 100,000 in payouts. So congratulations, man. Good job. So 18,385. Yeah, same thing. You shorted the lows there on that break for the trend continuation. Still, man, that's awesome. And that's your bread and butter, man. 25 points. Just you watch those key breakout levels and bang, you're in, you get your money, you're out. Aaron's really good at those trades. Yeah, so basically on the bonds there, Jacob, you just be waiting and you say, okay, let's see where this 15-minute closes. This is the general area where you want to see that support come in. I would want to see this here hold. I wouldn't be in a rush here at all. Like, I would want to see that 15-minute hold down here. And if it held, it could be setting up a nice pocket for a buy, back up here. And if it doesn't hold, it's not confirming. Yeah, so it looks like ES definitely, we're breaking that key. The overnight level was freaking golden right there. Boom. If you missed the beginning of the stream, go back. We talked about algos and things. You had a perfect hourly flash right there during London. I was asleep. Just beautiful. Right into the end of day analysis resistance level. Perfect. I was sleeping, couldn't take it, but the algos are going to fix that. And I can't wait till those are developed. As soon as Sierra is released, all the energy is going right back into finishing off these algos I've already, put a lot of work into, so we can run them overnight. Should be awesome. Run them all day. That's the next evolution for VolPro Edge, is algoizing the F out of it. Because everything is rule-based, right? So you can code all this. And then the key is to use the right algo on the right day, in the right zone, in the right direction, which we have our end of day analysis and it's golden. I can't sit here and watch the chart 24 hours a day, but I did know yesterday, man, I like that resistance level on ES. I don't know if we'll get there, but hey, algo, if we do get there and we see, this, this, and this, and this, short that for me, please. So I'm pumped about that. All right, so what's Nasdaq? Nasdaq is also, breaking those lows. Okay, well, since we're breaking those lows, let's go. I think we're probably headed down to the lows here. Let's see if we get a pullback on our volume-based charts. So this is the 10,000. You can see trending down nicely. So now you just wait for a pocket pullback. If I get a pocket pullback here, it's not part of our congestion week, but I'll short it. This market looks pretty darn weak, especially now taking out that key level. I think we want to go down to those lows. And then we'll still do our check for 11 o'clock, see if we have any congestion playbook setups. All right, guys, let's take just 5 minutes here. I got to make some fresh coffee, and then we'll keep it going. Be right back. All right, guys. Thanks for your patience. I went ahead and put the coffee on. Yeah, you're getting there, Aaron. That's the next step in your journey. Just working on sizing up for sure. All right, so we're getting a little bit of a pullback here. So now the question is, see on the volume-based charts here, if we expect the 50,000 to continue trending down toward these lows, right? If that's going to happen, then as the 10,000 is trending down and now is going for congestion entrance up, we would think, hey, objectively, if this 50 is going to keep leaking lower, then there should be some sellers coming in at the congestion resistance high level here. And we'll wait for this close. And if we have confirmation, you can short. And if you don't have confirmation, then you don't short. Australian Aaron, are you still here, man? There's no way. You got to be in bed now. I hope you're in bed. But thanks for stopping by, man. When you watch the replay, and Aaron, the commodity as well. Are you off today, Canada, Aaron? So you can see. Let's see if the sellers come in here. If the sellers do come in, well, then these extensions would hold, that congestion would hold, and we would get a close kind of underneath the true average, that extension, and you'd want to close in here. Sure, I'd want these core DMLs to be down here. And then if it closes strong, you just don't go short. All right, so we got 1044. We'll come back to this because we still have 4,500 contracts left to trade. But let's look at, we're going to get ready for our 11 o'clock check as well for congestion week. Let's look at ultra bonds. Yeah, so I would say, I would say that's reconfirming right there with ultra bonds. I mean, the 15's in congestion. The congestion support DML held. I mean, this thing, I'd buy it. Bonds are tricky. I'd want to see, these DMLs here hold. Your stop would be definitely, I would say, below the reaction low, which is below that low. So I put my stop at like 30, and I'd be longing like right around here, like 02 or whatever. So and if it bombs out, you'll take a loss. But if it pushes higher, and the hourly was to close up here, then you could have a big winner on your way back to the hourly envelope top. And look, if this just breaks down, that's okay. Like, that happens. That's a loss, right? We have confirmation that there was a lot of support here. There's still support here. We're still coming out of all this. The 15, shook out here, but then entered congestion, waiting for it to cycle back down. Now the 15 is in congestion all by itself. And, you did get a close above that congestion DML, above this. So if this breaks down, it breaks down. I mean, if these start to break, even though my stop is here, I'd maybe even just cut it. But they should hold if this is valid. Like, and that's how you just don't get like emotionally wrapped up in the trade. I would just look at this and go, look, the playbook is it's confirming there's support there. I don't have a crystal ball, I don't know, but you know, it's worth the risk on that trade. So hope that makes sense. Let's go back to Nasdaq. Okay, we've got about 1,500 contracts left. That's pretty biased. But if we got to close below here, I don't know. We'll keep an eye on. I want to stay on. We only have 13 minutes until the next hourly closes. So let me just come back to this because I really don't want to miss. Trying to teach you guys congestion week here. So looking at S&P, we're not in. I mean, yeah, we're in congestion, but not orderly. Nasdaq, I believe, is not in congestion because we're trending. Yeah, Nasdaq's trending down. But so just to show you, well, I'm going to go over those hourlies. But on the volume chart here, I would say, you know, based on everything else, if this closed under like down here, then yeah, you could, you know, try to take a short with very low risk and see if that pullback causes something like that, because we are trending down. But if we get, this is pretty biased to the upside. So if we closed above the true average and that extension right there, if we closed above all that, I wouldn't be interested. I'm not going to take this because I can't be two places at once, but I'm telling you how I would look at this. So looking at the Dow, we cracked through that support we were thinking about before, right? So that's not a valid buy. Let's look at the Russell that I neglected. There was a decent short there on the Russell for sure. Can't neglect the Russell. All markets are equal in the eyes of the Lord. It's some funny how biases, you know, can keep you out of things. Like I don't trade the Russell very often, and every time I do, it pisses me off. So that I just didn't check it, but well, there was a nice congestion short trade. So the question is that a congestion long trade on the Russell? No, I like the short side better. The short side is the side. So well, wait, you know, you might get later in the day something like that, and then something like that. All right, let's look at the 10-year. Trending up. 30-year. Still kind of congesting. The ultra bond is just sitting here doing nothing. Looking like this, so far, it's looking like this support wants to fail. My stop would be just below these DMLs, actually, at this point. Like, it's like, I'd be willing to take a couple of very small losses if this thing didn't push. Like, let's look at gold. Does anybody else have a 5-year-old that acts like a 1-year-old constantly? Because my 5-year-old acts like a 1-year-old a lot. I love her. She's very sweet, but man, I can't wait to get her in school. Gold. Okay, so this is interesting with gold. I mean, I might have to buy this. Hang on. Let's see. This is pretty interesting because technically you're in congestion here because this is only the second close. Like, yeah, this is not really like an orderly congestion market. It's not one that I would recommend for the congestion playbook. But gold itself, I mean, you're at some daily support now. The hourly tagged that extension. The 15 flashed. You're holding here. You know, I don't think that's a bad trade right there. It's not really in the congestion playbook 100%. I would wait to see where this closes in 8 minutes. See where that hourly closes. So let's see that. I mean, this is not really for congestion week. This is just because there could be some support here on gold. But let's look at silver. Wow, that's quite a correction there on silver, huh? It's not congestion. Copper trending. Platinum trending. Crude. Nat gas. That's interesting right there with nat gas. That's a nice exhaust, probably for a reversal back down on nat gas. You're coming out of a daily pocket. Could be a congestion reversal there for nat gas. Let me see. That's more congestion-ish. Should we trade the Widowmaker, guys? So this is with nat gas. I mean, you do have hourly congestion here. It's not super orderly, but nat gas will never be orderly. You've got this old high here, trend high. You got the congestion, you know, this trend low. So this is technically 1, 2, 3. Yeah, no, it's not the congestion entrance bar because we already got that out of the way. So this is the valid congestion range for natural gas here. And you do have a nice extension. You got that core there. You got that. So you got the resistance coming in here for a potential move back down like that. If the 15 confirms with congestion entrance, may set an order. And then I'd have to see here. Catching up on stuff here. So it's 5 minutes to the hour. I might be looking to short some nat gas depending on where this 15-minute closes. I think if we close below, it's really here. It would need to close kind of below 3287 because I'd want it inside that high. Let's keep an eye. Nice little pocket there. Heating oil's trending up. Gasoline trending up. Dollar catching a little bit of a bid here, which is probably why silver's getting smoked and gold's down a little bit. I mean, for those of you guys trading gold, I mean, watch this support carefully. That's a nice support level there on the hourly. You know, you can watch it's not for our congestion playbook, but nice pullback. See if the 15 confirms. Okay, see you, Ralph. Have a good day, man. I'll catch up on your other comments here, Aaron and Jacob, in just a second. I'm just keeping an eye on natural gas. '15's trying to go for congestion entrance down. I mean, it's been a long time since I traded natural gas. My God. Now, if we closed here, I would be looking to get short, into this 3.3 level, because that's where your hourly DML is, resistance. Your 15-minute DMLs are there. And then my stop on that would just be right up here, like 3.322. So what's that, like $240 of risk or something on natural gas? And any number of things can happen. It may just dump and we don't get in, or it may, pump up here and whatever. Yeah, Aaron's very good at those trades, Jacob. He's just able to, he likes levels breaking down. Yeah, he's all about momentum. I'm more like, I look for markets kind of rolling over into resistance or support. That's my personality. Aaron loves watching levels, and when it breaks down, he goes. Oh, do we have inventories today? I think we might have natural gas inventories. Let me just check real quick. That'd be hysterical. Natural gas stocks change. Oh, that was at 10:30. That's funny. So that big pump up there was on the natural gas number. Natural gas is wild. Contractor. I got a different number here. I got to check to make sure I'm in the right contract for natural gas. I thought it was the June contract, but yeah, we're in June, NGM. I don't know why. See, this is where like these numbers here on TradingView are much different than the numbers on Tradify for the June contract. Right now, the June contract on Tradify is trading 3.449. So somehow TradingView still has us in a different contract. Let's see if I can get out of here. See, then they don't let me, it's like NG1, that's their thing, right? So what if I go NG M5? So NGM. Okay, yeah, now. So here's the actual, see, it's quite different when you look at the, that's a nice little congestion exhaust there on the hourly. 15's trying to go for congestion entrance down, so I'll keep an eye on this. I'm not going to set an order, but I want to see if the 15, can enter congestion down. Looking like it probably will. But I want to see if I want to see if nat gas tests up into that DML 3.464, because that's right here at the 15-minute DML reaction high envelope top. See if maybe we and I might miss this. It might just like fire to the downside, but I want to see if it tests up and then kind of gets shut down and then goes. And, you know, super aggressive, you could just get in right here and just go. And then if it starts to break through the true average, you just get out. Okay, thanks, Jacob. Yeah, looks like I got it. Appreciate that. So yeah, like natural gas is a tough market to trade, but I'm just pointing out like the um, pattern here. You're in congestion. You got a nice flash exhaust coming out of the daily pocket. Like this is probably headed down. So let's see now if we can just get like a good entry. While we're waiting for this, let's just go see. So here's ES. I mean, this is where the shorts could get squeezed. A big flash. Still in congestion, but we're in no man's land, so I wouldn't take it. But if I was short, I'd be very careful here. Nasdaq. Well, you can see bonds still confirming that level. Interesting. So now if I did get long there at those core DMLs, I would just be at break even because like either it's going to go up or it's not. Yeah, gold, you got some nice support down here. I think gold's probably going to rifle back up. That's a nice flash. I like gold here a lot. I wish I was paying more attention to this rather than natural gas because that was a good buy there at 33.04.
Order filled.
All right, let's just do a micro on gold here. Missed the ideal entry. So if it pulls back down in here, I'll try and buy a few more. Normally, watching this here, like you want to be in right there, right at that 15-minute close, 33.04. Because regardless of what happens with this trade, gold is so bullish right now. And right here, I mean, this is not textbook congestion, but that closes above the middle of the envelope. So then 1, 2, we're not trending yet on the hourly. So this is technically just a very, very wide congestion zone. And you have a flash on the hourly right there. You held the extension. Yeah, the core DML is above you, but I don't care about that coming out of that flash. So the 15 confirmed with these DMLs right here, and then bang, you're in, you're off, you're running. So I think, you know, we could be headed back up here, 33.30. So my first entry is 3309.7, but I really should be in from down here, but it's fine. It's just teaching, show you guys how to do it. I've heard there's a ton of money to be made in NG, the Widowmaker. Yeah, it is the Widowmaker. Yeah, I think the short on natural gas was a good call, but if I had to choose between that natural gas short and the gold long, I mean, I would take the gold long just because gold's a little bit more orderly than natural gas. So anyways, I'm in one. I'm probably going to scale in more. I just don't like chasing here, but.
Order filled.
This is not ideal for stop management. Like right now, if you got in at the right spot, you're in fucking perfect position. So I would expect the 15-minute to trend reverse up here to at least 33.30. So I'm definitely very late to the party here, but it's okay.
Order filled.
So I'm just scaling into some micros here. What's up, Spider-Man? We have a nice flash on the hourly gold. I'm late to the party because I was watching natural gas, but just putting on some micros here to see what happens. The really good entry was right down here. Yeah, I'm looking to take this, yeah, up there, Jacob, like around 33.30, something like that. I mean, the best entry would be here, and right now I would already be at, I wouldn't be at break even, but your risk would be very low, like 33.04. I mean, I'd have my stop at like 32.99, but mentally I'd be like, okay, if this thing comes back to break even, I'd probably cut it. Because if this flash is viable, I mean this thing should rocket out of here pretty good. And the 15, you really want to see this 15 close up above here and see some continuation is what I'd be looking for. So that was a much better entry there on gold as opposed to natural gas. But it's all right. It takes a lot, guys. When you're like when I'm scrolling through all the markets and teaching and answering questions and explaining, and it's like I'm still, it's a lot. But it's going good. Let's look. Well, I'm in these golds, but let's see natural gas. Yeah, so natural gas is a good call. It's just a hard entry there with natural gas. But yeah, you have it rolling over. Gold was an easier entry because you had those 15-minute DMLs right there at 04. Usually when I miss it, like if I miss an entry like that, I won't chase up here. I'll just, put the order in and see if it comes back to put me in where I should be in from. And then if I miss it, I miss it. But for the sake of trading a little bit on stream, let's see what happens. This is for educational purposes only. I need to put a risk disclaimer in my videos. Let me put a reminder on my to-do list. That is kind of important. Nice. Yeah, they're closed, Spider-Man, tomorrow. I'm just long. This is a good gold trade. You guys can see this is why if you just, you know, use VolPro Edge to wait for the right setups, it's great. This was a gimme on gold, 33.04. Nice, Spider-Man. Yeah, it's been a shortened holiday week, but it's been good. Lots of good congestion examples for the congestion playbook. I'm getting more and more comfortable live streaming. You know, I'm getting the charts ready for Sierra charts soon. But you see with TradingView, I mean, you just wait for hourly setups. You know, you're pretty good to go. You guys can ask questions. I'm just trying to let this gold trade play out and answering some emails while we wait, but fire away. You know, there's lots of different ways you can manage this. If you got in at the correct level here, you know, you could peel off some here and try and re-enter down here.
Order filled.
Okay, just made a little bit on those micros, but like I said, this was just, I was way late to the party here. See, if we get lucky and get a push back down here, then I'll go in with bigger size. Like it would be a gift if gold If gold came back down like this, I would get in on a full contract and then try and push it back up here. Like this here was a full contract trade for sure. And you guys see that, right? You're clear about that hourly flash. You see that, right? Right into the extension, right into that daily support. Gold is super bullish. This is the 15-minute moving inside the live envelope here, holding that DML above these DMLs. That's beautiful. Bang. You guys got that? So that was pretty sweet. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. Just bought some gold here, made a little on this push up, but I was watching natural gas. But when I flipped back to gold, I saw that the perfect entry was right here. This flash, just perfect. So I think it's going back up to 30, probably like up in here. But I'm just trying to get a better real entry close to where I should be in from, but made a little bit of money. Oh, is he loud? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got to figure out how to do that. Maybe there's like a setting. I'll look into that. Application settings, maybe. Preferences. Audio notifications. I guess I can just turn those off, yeah? Okay, they're off. Audio notifications. Maybe order notifications off. Maybe that does something. Let's try that. Yeah, I got out here. I think we're going higher, Jacob, but my original entry should be from here. So like being in from here, it's like I would rather, it needs to come back down here for me to go in a full contract. But I think we're pretty late to the party because we were watching natural gas. So that's my idea, guys. Like teach you guys. So while I'm dicking around with natural gas, somebody goes, Andy, that flash you were talking about on gold is pretty good. The 15's confirming. Oh yeah, boom. We'll get there. So right now, Jacob, I'm just seeing if we get, if we get a move back down in here, I'll start scaling in on micros again, but really I'd rather be in on a full contract from 3304 right here, which is where the trade confirmed from. Does that make sense? Oh. But we're finding some good setups. There's lots and lots and lots of good, examples and teaching, and that's why I'm doing this. So let's see if gold can get back down here. Meanwhile, guys, let me know if you got questions, comments, anything. And this kind of trade too, Jacob, for you guys that like, if you like to scale, I always go in full. So like if I got in full here on a full contract, 3304, and then it pushes nicely up there to 3317. I mean, that's a $1,400 move on one contract. I would definitely pull some off, if not the whole thing. And then even though my target is 30, I would just see if I could get a little bit of a pullback gift to re-enter. And it also just depends, like there's no when you're trading, you're kind of in your zone. You're doing, yeah, you got your playbook, you got your checklist, but you're also doing what you think you need to do in that moment, right? That's why there's no, um, it's not black and white. Jose, what's the dollar per point difference on micro and full? I think it's 1/10. So full is $10 a tick, and micro I believe is $1 per tick. Yeah, that's how it is for gold. Yeah, I know some markets are different with the micros. Like, for example, silver I don't think is 1/10. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. Not sure. And then other ones, I think crude is 1/10. My daughter's new thing is, oh man, like when she doesn't get what she wants. So she says that like 1,000 times a day. I'm like, what YouTube show did she learn that from? She goes, oh man. Nice. Way to go, bro. Good job on that gold trade. I love it when you guys take the trades. I'm here to teach. You know, we're all here to make money. What matters is the money going into your bank account, not mine. So let's see if we can get a little dump here on gold. This would be a gift to get long down here. Come on, gold. Dump. Probably quite a lot of support down here. I long one micro there. I'll try to scale in long if we keep dropping. Got about 5 minutes left till this confirms. Let's see what the 5 minute did just for shits and giggles. Oh yeah, right there. I mean, pretty good congestion entrance down bar, but the extension did hold. I think you got to like that 5 minute support into all this 15-minute support. Should be some pretty good support here. I'm long some micros, guys, off of that level. Like if this is not the low of the day for gold, I'm willing to lose a few $100 if I'm wrong. Does that make sense, you guys? You guys picking up what I'm laying down? Okay, cool, Jose. Oh, that's right. My phone's going to be ready at 11. Sweet. I'm curious to see if it's going to be good as new. He was like, do you want the factory glass or do you want something that's the same, but not the factory, but half the price? I was like, I guess I'll take half the price, the same. He's like, yes, that's a good call, my friend. I was like, okay, let's do it. Because originally when I was going to look at like the new Samsung, whatever it is, I would get like the S26 Plus thingy. It's like, here in Costa Rica, it's like a $1,500 phone. I'm like, okay, well, if I have to buy it, I'll buy it. It's fine. But I was looking at my screen. I'm like, I really don't want to migrate all my shit from this phone over to this new phone. Maybe I can just get the screen fixed. So I found a place that said they could do it. I mean, I'll believe it when I see it and go pick it up. But you guys saw in the Discord stream yesterday in Power Hour, I showed you my phone in the camera. Let's see what my screen was dealing with. So we got about 15 seconds till this closes. Oh, sorry. We had about 45 seconds. Now we got 30 seconds. How's the latency, you guys? Just a couple of seconds down here on the clock. Ten seconds. Nice. 2-second latency. That's good. Yeah, that's typically what it's been, which is fantastic. So there's your 15-minute close. I mean, it could be that the 15-minute wants to cycle back down here. I think that would just be a gift. But I mean, I think gold's pretty bullish. Kind of feel like the middle of the envelope wants to hold here. That 5-minute exhaust. Yeah, you got 5-minute DMLs coming in here. We'll see. I mean, ideally, you'd like it to try to push back up and through these DMLs, but right now it's looking weaker than I expected. How's the dollar doing? Kind of flat. You see, we're right at this hourly DML too, you see? and the true average and this live. So there's a lot of support here that, you know, kind of with this pattern should hold. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Right now, it's just kind of wrestling with that 15-minute true average envelope top, but really, I would expect that to break. I would expect all that support here and here to try to break us through here, push us back up to these highs, and ultimately at least test up to the middle of the hourly envelope. And that may or may not happen, but that's what the DMLs, that's the story the DMLs are telling at this moment. It's gone pretty quiet. Maybe some people are already taking off for Easter. What do you guys think? Yeah, I'm long some gold. You can rewind the video, Ralph, but the, the the correct entry for gold was right here on that 15-minute close, hourly close, and nice big push. But I was looking at natural gas, so I kind of didn't get in there, and had some micros that I bought here, took off a little here, and now I'm adding in a little here. I like this whole support area here. I feel like gold should be headed back up to at least these highs, but if not, up to the middle of the hourly envelope up here. Nice. Got to go to the Bahamas with Aaron the Commodity video fan dude. Sounds good. So now just watch carefully. Like this extension right here is a gift if we get down there. $33.04.5. So I'm trying to buy more down there at 33.04.5. Maybe gold's going to go lower for the day. Take a loss. Okay. Losses are educational as well. If I get filled on 4 micros at 33.04.5, it will put my average position around, I will be in 8 micros with an average of about 33.07, which, it wouldn't be bad. We'll see if this is where all the buying might come in on the 5. You can see these DMLs swooping in, building for the swoop. Oh, I got to get my coffee, guys. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'm back, guys. Are we rich? Did we make lots of money? Let's see. Catching up here. Sorry, Steven, I missed your. What are the volume bars looking like? Let's go ahead and check it out. You mean for this gold trade? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have a little look. See. Good question, Steven. They're looking beautiful, guys. So you can see the volume charts. They gave us a nice 2-bar exhaust right there. You got the core DML extension. So that's your zone. You got the live core, beautiful. And that closed. Yeah, look at that, guys. Look, right there. Boom. And then look, that's your close right there. Boom. Pocket, extension, congestions. Load the boat. No, I'm just kidding. That was the load the boat down there, and then nice little push up. So right now, that was a really good entry. Right now, the volume bars, we pulled back to that congestion support level, so you'd want to see that hold for a pushback up to these highs. But the meat of the move was what we missed by watching natural gas, was from here to there, which on the 15-minute was just, also see. So they're both good, guys. Like the volume charts, they in my opinion, they just give you more sniper entries. You don't miss as many trades with the volume charts. But the 15 and the hourly, I mean, they give good trades. I kind of don't like that we're stalling out here. It feels like, it should want to push up. See what those 5 minutes are doing again. All those DMLs were, yeah. So at least now you got some confirmation on the 5. It entered congestion up. All those DMLs building against the 5-minute trend. So the 5 is trying to round the corner. Got about 3 minutes left till this 15 closes. I'd really want this 15 to close up here, which means I'd want the 5 to squeeze up and through those congestion resistance highs here. Right now it's kind of struggling more than I'd like to see. I'd like to see some buying come in there on the 5. Jose, I've never used Sierra charts. Would be doing a how to set up video when it comes out. Yeah, of course. And I'll just set you guys up with my charts. So I'll just, you'll have my chart file and I'll just be like, boom. And then I'll show you guys how to change the different volume. You know, yeah, we'll do a little tutorial for VolPro Edge Sierra charts. Thanks for the hearts. It's cool about YouTube. You can like put like those things that float up like 100 or charts or hearts. So we want to see some buying come in here now. We only have about 1 minute left for this 15 and the 5 to close. I think we're heading into the Easter holiday lull. We'll see if the 15 closes here. I don't think that's a bad close. You got a pocket. You'd still be above that hourly there, but I'd like to see it close a little stronger. I mean, I'm still in. I didn't get filled on my ad down there at 04.5, unfortunately. And now I'll take that away. Because now it really needs to go up from here. If we're going back up to these highs, this 15-minute support pocket here, this all now needs to drive this up and through. If that doesn't happen, then it's the Easter lull, and I'm going surfing. Because it's 11:45 now, right? So this hourly is going to close in 15 minutes, and I would like it to close up near the highs, and I would like the 15 to get us there. All right, guys, I'm going to take a break even on this trade. The reason is because this was the move here. That was the move, right? And now it's lollygagging around here. I don't like to sit around and wait. Like, if the trade's not confirming, I'm over it. So that was the meat of that move right there on gold. A good educational flash there on the hourly. I still think it's probably going to head higher. I just, don't want to sit around and wait for it. Because I can feel the Easter lull is coming. Let's just go. How did Nat Gas do? Yeah, so Nat Gas had a nice reaction off that level there. Pretty good stuff. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. You got any questions? Comments? anything before we head out for Easter? We'll all be in the Discord over Easter. I'll be chatting with you guys. I'll be around. I'm looking forward to 3 days of rest. It's been, you know, starting VolPro Edge and streaming, and I'm getting used to it. It's definitely, it takes a lot of energy to do all this and teach and try to trade on screen while teaching. But I knew that that would be a challenge, and that's something I'm working on right now. Easing into it more every day and getting more comfortable. Like it's also speed. Just, you know, I get hung up on chatting and teaching, and then you miss things. But overall, I feel that the educational value for you guys for what we're doing on the stream is worth it for you guys. Believe me, my trading is it's much easier to do when I'm just sitting here focusing, not talking, looking for setups. But I think the value of walking you guys through, looking for trades, trying to find, you know, good congestion setups this week. Next week, we'll figure out if we want to do reversal week, you know, flash week, pocket week, trend week. I got to think through that. But let me know if it helped you guys to see a lot of the congestion patterns this week that we identified, because we had a lot of good patterns. And I think it made congestion trading a lot more clear for you guys by going over that. So just give it a couple minutes here, guys, for last questions or anything like that. Yeah, thanks, Ralph. Yeah, I think it was a good week. I think you guys learned a lot. Yeah, I had a good week. I didn't lose money. You know, wish I would have made more money on that drop, but what are you going to do? When the power goes out, the power goes out, especially at 3 in the morning in Costa Rica. Unreal. But I'm over it, focusing on the positives. Group playbook session for congestion, going to be really good. Yeah, for sure. I'd really love you guys to put your notes of what you're learning for the congestion playbook, dump all your notes and come up with a group playbook for congestion. And then next week we'll come up with a group playbook for whatever, you know, aspect of the playbook we're going to be working on next week. Yeah, I think there's power in all of you learning VolPro Edge and contributing the notes together, building out each piece of the playbook. I mean, and like I said, when some of you guys start to get up to my level of analysis, and you'll be able to, you know, we'll be able to watch these markets together, then it's going to be insanely beneficial, because we're not going to miss trades, because it's only me that's like scrolling through all these markets and teaching and this and that. And it would be nice to have like all of us, you know, like I said, just one guy just watch gold, and he's watching gold going, hey, look, you know, there's the flash, guys, let's get in. Like, yeah, let's get in, you know. So that's where this is going. And that's also why I'm investing, you know, so much of my time and energy into live streaming with you guys, because I can see where the VolPro Edge live room is going, where everybody knows how VolPro Edge works. We've all got the playbooks fucking down, and we've got guys on different markets, you know, calling out different aspects of the playbook in real time. Can you guys imagine that? Like that vision? Like somebody's on bonds, somebody's on gold, somebody's on silver, somebody's on crude, somebody's on natural gas, right? And then I'm just here like the bond guy's like, look at this. I look at it like, yeah, that's great. I don't want that. Oh, boom, there's that one. Like, it's going to be awesome. So that's what I feel the most pumped about. That and the algos coming soon. I'm really excited about the algos. Yeah, exactly. Different people will have, you know, different really good eyes for, you know, different setups for sure. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to leave it there. And if you got any questions, go post them in the Discord. I'll be there. And, you know, we're taking it 1 week at a time. I think you guys have learned a lot in your first few weeks, and you just keep it going. So, all right, take care, guys. Thanks for being here. Happy Easter.